When alt season, let's take a look. It's the time in crypto which is unrealistic. It's really the time in crypto where you look at your portfolio and a month later, your portfolio is worth twice or three times as much. And that happens multiple months in a row. So if you invest and position yourself correctly before alt season happens, then it is actually pretty doable to turn a $5,000 portfolio in a $50,000 or $100,000 portfolio, or maybe even more. But alt season is something that needs to do that, because we are not going to 20x our Bitcoin holdings from this point in the coming bull market. At least that's not within my expectations. So let's take a look. When can we expect an alt season? Because if you know when you know, right? If you think that you know when you can expect an alt season, you can also prepare the best way possible. So let's take a look at that. Like the video if you like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn the bell notification on, and let's get right into it. Now, there are some people on Twitter, of course, indicating like, hey, for example, Altseason loading 3, 2, 1, and then he posts this, right? Where the Bitcoin dominance goes from 53% maybe to 50%. That's not an alt season, right? In that case, we have seen multiple alt seasons already. And let me say something very controversial, but I've said this many times before. We have only seen 2 alt seasons in crypto. So it's not that if you ask like when alt season, that there is an alt season here and there and there. Like, alt seasons are very rare. That's why it makes you so much money, because it doesn't occur that often. And for the people that feel like just 2 alt seasons, yes, and I will show you the 2 alt seasons. But it is interesting to first know what an alt season is, of course, right? Because I made a poll on my channel, and it's very cool to see that the opinions are very different. I asked when alt season, and it is so diversified, right? Usually if you make such a poll, there's one clear winner, but this is all over the place. Some people say it's already started. Some people say it could happen anytime right now. Some people say it's a few months from now. Some people say by the end of 2024, and some people say by the somewhere in 2025. These are all opinions, and all I can do is give give my opinion on this, right? It's not that I have the answers. I'm also a guy, just like anyone else who voted on this poll. So I don't know. But I can give you my opinion based on the charts that we have. And that could really help us understand when we could see an alt season. So first, you have to understand what an alt season is. So what is alt season? And then you will clearly see alt season denotes a recurring trend in the cryptocurrency market wherein the price of specific altcoins experience notable surges in comparison to Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is underperforming compared to altcoins, aka altcoins are outperforming Bitcoin. Therefore, there is one chart that you need, actually, because you can, of course, take a look at your favorite altcoin and be like, hey, Superverse, right? Went from 7 cents to $1. Well, alt season. Not really. This is just a low cap coin, which is catching up a little bit on the current Bitcoin run, right? Because in all honesty, it looks super fantastic, and it is. I'm glad I have a position, but Super went from $4.70 all the way to 7 cents, right? It got wrecked so extremely hard that, of course, the bounce is also very hard if that altcoin turns out to survive the market. And apart from that, there are always underperformers and there are always overperformers, outperformers, right? Solana was not low cap. Solana is just outperforming the market right now. But overall, if you do look at what happened lately, you can see that, and if we look at Bitcoin first, right? What has Bitcoin done from the bottom until where we are right now? Bitcoin did give or take a 3x from the bottom, which is fantastic. Now, if we do take a look at altcoins collectively, right? Then we have the others chart, and the others chart is everything in the top 125 except the top 10. So no Bitcoin, no Ethereum, no USDT, no USDC, no Solana, no Cardano, no Dogecoin, no XRP, no BNB, right? Because if you really want to make a lot of money with crypto, yeah, then I don't know how much the top 10 is actually going to change your life. So Bitcoin did a 3x from the bottom until where it is right now. What did altcoins do? Altcoins did the same, 5% more, right? So we can basically say altcoins did exactly the same. So is it an alt season? No, altcoins are not outperforming Bitcoin. And again, I know there are altcoins that are outperforming Bitcoin, right? But there are also altcoins like Ethereum, for example, the biggest altcoin, which is underperforming, right? And if you do take a look at a lot of altcoins on their Bitcoin pair, they're not doing so well. If you look at Matic, for example, like, okay, they did 2x from the bottom, give or take, fantastic, right? But if you look at Matic on its Bitcoin pair, look where it's sitting, right? Matic hasn't been outperforming Bitcoin at all. Matter of fact, Matic it looks like it's breaking like crucial support right here. So exceptions are always there, but you will have that in any type of market. But exceptions are not the rule. So overall, it is not an alt season. Right now, there is one chart that shows you if it's an alt season or not. Again, if we look at the definition, it's where altcoins outperform Bitcoin. So that means that the Bitcoin dominance, because the Bitcoin dominance is saying how much Bitcoin is dominating compared to the rest of the crypto space, the Bitcoin dominance should go down because altcoins go up against Bitcoin. If we do take a look at the Bitcoin dominance though, this has been going up since, well, basically January 2022, but this current, move from November 2022. That's where Bitcoin has been outperforming the altcoin market. So Bitcoin is dominating the crypto space more than altcoins. So it is actually more of a Bitcoin season right now. You can see this in another way, and that's by taking the altcoin market, so the others, the chart that we have just shown, right? This chart right here, the others, and we divide that by the Bitcoin market cap. Right? This is what you get. So this is basically every altcoin, except the top 10, on its Bitcoin pair. And if you look at it like this is going down, right? Of course, the last like half year it has been going up a little bit, but still the overall direction is still down. It was a lower high right here. So again, this is not an alt season, right? It isn't. So why did I say there were just 2 alt seasons? Well, yeah, because there were just 2 alt seasons. The Bitcoin dominance shows you, right? If you look at the Bitcoin dominance, let me remove all the noise right here real quick and put it on the monthly chart to make it really clear. The Bitcoin dominance has to go down in order for us to see an alt season. We want to see Bitcoin underperforming compared to the rest of the market. So when did that happen? It happened here in 2021. And it happened here in March 2017. You could say like, hey, alt season number 1 and alt season number 2 and alt season number 3. But overall, it was 2 months of a relief bounce and then it went up, going down even more. I rather see this just as one big alt season with a little breathing room in between. So when it comes to that, we only had 2 alt seasons. Now, again, of course, you could say like, right, in June 2022, we had this move down. That was an alt season, right? And yeah, technically it was, right? Because this was a period for like 2 or 3 months where altcoins were outperforming Bitcoin, but not that much, right? Like the same happened here, and I can point you a lot of other moments where that happened, and like these are all small reliefs, but no real alt seasons, right? If you zoom out again and you look at the real alt seasons, then this is not much compared to that. So now, we are sitting a lot higher than that, at least. So it, means that we have more room to go down as well. Do we go back to this right here? I doubt it, right? And here, at least, no, right? Here, the Bitcoin dominance was like 96%. Purely because of the stable market, it's already not possible, because there are already too much. The market cap of stable coins is already too high. So if it stays like that, then it's not possible for Bitcoin to reach that type of dominance again, right? Combine that with the fact that there are a lot more altcoins right now, which all take a little bit of money from the market. Yeah, the dominance should be diminishing, right? It should be diminishing returns. So that should be the case. Now, if we put a lot of shit over this chart, what you can see is one of the most interesting things is this trend that we are in, right? And what you'll notice is that we are approaching this trend line right now. And of course, the sooner it happens, the higher we can go, if we get like rejected exactly from the trend line, of course, because it goes down. So here it's higher than here. If we would have reached this, like, let's say today or this week, the Bitcoin dominance could go to around, let's say, almost 59%. Yeah, if it would happen, let's say in July, it could go to 57%, like, right? And the later it happens, the lower it could go. Not saying it cannot break above or have a fake out or whatsoever, but if you look at this pattern, and let's give or take where it could go. So it means that before we see an alt season, altcoins should have a little room to go down against Bitcoin. And that's what we have been seeing lately, right? Bitcoin is going up. Right, Bitcoin is doing quite fantastic. If we put it on the daily chart, you can see it even better. Right, Bitcoin has a decent run from January 24 until where we are right now. If you look at the dominance, what happens from January, even 15 already, it has been going up. Right, so it is a fact that still, if Bitcoin goes up, the dominance goes up. That won't be like that forever. And that's also when that changes, that's where the really fun part starts, by the way. If you were not around in like, well, here sorry, wrong chart. If you were not around here at the end or beginning 2021, so you haven't seen an alt season yet, yeah, then I can already tell you that you have a very fun time ahead if you are positioned into altcoins, right? Again, if you look at the collective altcoin chart, then this is what you see. And if you put it on a bit of perspective, right? Like, yeah, it had a big bounce, definitely. But is it that parabolic already, right? Like, I don't know. Again, this did a 3x. But if we look at last cycle from where it did a 3x from the bottom, 200%, that's this, right? This is what we have done so far, this point. And this was coming after. If you zoom out and you look at the real parabolic run, then this is completely sideways, actually. Now, I'm not saying we will make such a run this time, because this was a lot of money injected into the market, into the altcoin market, right? And I don't know if we will get it that much this time, but overall, we have a lot of room to go up. A lot of room to go up. Now, when can we maybe see an alt season? I found this interesting. So I asked this right here, when's alt season? And I have my answer to that. My answer is end of 2024. That's what I would vote on. And I'll explain to you why. But someone else says something interesting as well. And that also backs this up, end of 2024. Real alt season always starts a month after Bitcoin makes a new all-time high. Historically proven. Look at the chart. And that's true. If we do take a look at that, and what this person means is not this type of all-time high, but when Bitcoin breaks its all-time high. So let's take a look at that, because if that's true, then we already have a little bit more information. right? So again, when did alt season start last time? So let's take a look at the Bitcoin dominance again, right? Let's put it on the weekly chart, right? Last alt season started in, let's say, January 2021, right? Okay, let's go back to Bitcoin. January 2021. Let's put it on the weekly. Where is that? January 2021. Here. What happened in January 2021? Well, a month after January, or a month after Bitcoin makes its new high, right? Which was here, November 2020, right? And we can see right here, now technically it started December, by the way, so it makes sense, right? So Bitcoin broke above this high right here, and then it went up. And this was the all-time high, right? So if you look at the all-time high and it broke above, that was in December 2020. So January 2021. Okay, makes sense so far. When was the alt season before that? It happened in, let's say, February 2017. So let's go to February 2017, which is here. And what Bitcoin did, there it broke above its all-time high. So 2 measure points, and does twice make a trend? No, twice does not make a trend. It's more of a coincidence. 3 times usually makes a trend. But it's all the information we have based on this, right? And, you know, this makes sense. So far, this lines up. So that would mean, if we repeat this, that the real alt season starts once Bitcoin breaks above, let's say, 70K. And it sounds like, wow, that's like super far away from here. It's just 42% away. 42%. We already had 213%. We already made 5 times that move, right? And of course, now injecting 40% takes way more money than it did over here. But there are now ETFs, and there is way more money right now in crypto. So it's like, it lines up. So my reason, but that makes sense. So far, indeed, every time Bitcoin makes a new all-time high, it's when alt season starts. My reasoning for saying that it will happen the end of 2024 is also not based on a lot of history, but it is all the history we have. Therefore, we have to take a look at the Bitcoin dominance chart. Again, I've showed you this before. If you have seen this, then let me know what you think about this. These white lines are the Bitcoin halving. And at least, again, the 2 times of history that we have, it says we have the halving, 8 months later, alt season. Here as well. We have the halving, 8 months later, alt season. So now we have the halving coming up in April. Take that 8 months later, and we are sitting at the end of 2024. Maybe beginning 2025, could be a couple, of weeks / maybe months earlier or later, but around that period. I'm not here to say like, December 17, 3 p.m. But give or take that area. That's so far when alt season starts. Now, in the meantime, what happened? Let's overlay Bitcoin on this chart right here. Because if we now have an idea of like, okay, this is when alt season might start, how to prepare in the meantime? Well, let's take a look what information we can get from this. So what happened right here? We had the halving, and the Bitcoin dominance didn't do anything. Right, so here it was completely fine. However, Bitcoin went up, right? So overall, there was more money to be made with Bitcoin because altcoins were not outperforming. Altcoins were doing the same, but Bitcoin, it went up. Okay, fine. Nothing too interesting. I'd say this would have been the perfect place to just dollar cost into altcoins. No crazy moves right there, right? Now what happens right here? Also not much, right? Yes, we had the halving. The Bitcoin dominance went down. the Bitcoin dominance went up again, right? And it was a pretty big move, by the way, from 57% all the way back to 72%. But overall, it kind of ended up where it started. And in the meantime, Bitcoin, it went from, let's say, $9,000 all the way to $35,000, right? So yes, like the Bitcoin dominance stayed flat, Bitcoin went up. So Bitcoin on the dollar pair and altcoins on the dollar pair went up hard. But this was the real interesting place, right? Because here, the dominance went down while Bitcoin was still going up, right? So Bitcoin kind of depends where from this candle you take it, right? Because this candle, it was like pretty huge. It started at let's say $7,000 and it ended at $12,000, right? But sorry, that was not the right one. Sorry for that. Let's do that over. Right here, Bitcoin went up extremely hard and the dominance went down really hard. Let me do that completely over because I was looking at the wrong thing right there, okay? So what does that mean? It means Bitcoin did well, but altcoins did way better. Altcoins did way better. So this was really the season for altcoins. So the best time to prepare for that was like here, right? And even earlier, but hey, you cannot go back in time, right? So overall, the message that I have right here is, could the Bitcoin dominance go up even more? Could it go up all the way to like 58% maybe break a little bit above it? And could altcoins go down on their Bitcoin pair? Hey, yeah, of course, it could definitely happen, right? But overall, if you really want to prepare for an alt season, then this is kind of the time to prepare for that right now. And I want to make this super clear. A lot of people, they might think like, let's take a look at Foco Forge, for example, altcoin that I really like. They might be like, yeah, bro, you know, it was 260, it's now 750. You know, it did more than a 2x already. And this is not even outperform or anything. This is just going, you know, regularly with the market. Same as Matic, right? Like, yeah, okay, it's like 3x from the bottom, but not that great. But again, if you look at these altcoins on their Bitcoin pair, quite close to the bottom, right? Like it is up, let's say 40% from the bottom. Well, a lot of altcoins on the dollar pair like Solana is up 1200% from the bottom. So to buy this right now, yeah, that might feel a little stupid, right? You feel like, oh, I'm already too late. Although this could go to 500 and you can still make a 5x though, right? But it might feel like this is too late. However, like I've said many times before in this channel, like, hey, you know, maybe better to just not go too much with altcoins and buy Bitcoin instead. And voila, Bitcoin did a 3x, right? And now you can buy a lot of altcoins quite cheap, really quite cheap. If you, especially if you look at it like this, it's just doesn't change the chart. It's just a matter of perspective, basically, right? If you look at Foco Forge, like look where it came from, and look where we are right now. This is such an accumulation phase. Illuvium, completely at the bottom, right? And if you really zoom in and you put it on logarithmic and you zoom completely in, you'll be like, yeah, what the fuck, you know? It's already up 60% from the bottom. Bro, if you nail the timing and you just have a difference with like 60%, you did very well, like completely crazy. That's crazy, right? But if you look at like Illuvium, for example, you buy it quite close to the bottom. Quant, you know, you buy basically the bottom. It's like not far from there. Again, Matic, you buy the range lows. Like, and yeah, it could break down and then you're fucked. But hey, DCA, right? Ultra, it's like you buy the bottom, right? There are a lot of altcoins, and even Chainlink now is doing really well. But if you look at Chainlink Bitcoin, it is still actually in that accumulation range. Yeah, it's more at the top of the range than the downside of the range, but still, if you look at his chart, be like, yeah, buy here, doesn't really matter. And then when it really goes up in an alt season, because in an alt season, coins on their Bitcoin pair do this. Now, the fun thing is, if that happens during a Bitcoin uptrend, right? So it's super simple. Like Chainlink, for example, is now here, right? And let's say Chainlink goes back to its all-time high on its Bitcoin pair. I'm not saying it will, it could, I don't know, right? It does a 4x. What if Bitcoin stays where it is? Then Chainlink on the dollar pair does a 4x. But what if this happens and Bitcoin does a 3x from here? Then Chainlink on its dollar pair makes a 12x. And that's the kind of stuff that happens in an alt season. A real alt season in a parabolic bull market. And again, we haven't seen it that much. It's like not that common that it happens every day or every month or every year even, right? But therefore the rewards are so extremely high. Again, look at this. This is so cool. If you look at the Bitcoin dominance, and let's take the worst alt season, right? Like this was fucking crazy, but let's take this alt season. And it goes from 28th December 2020. Right? If you take Bitcoin from that point, 28th of December 2020, that was here. Ignore the rest. That was here. So what you could have done with Bitcoin is you bought somewhere right here and you made 120% gain or something, right? If you do take a look at the altcoin market, 20 December 2020, which was here. What would you have made with altcoins? 840%. That was because Bitcoin was going up, but the dominance went down. So a lot of money was just coming into the market. And everybody was putting their money from Bitcoin into altcoins. And that's why it goes up. But if you are already here, before this retail pumps the crap out of it, yeah, then they are pumping your bags. Like, and yeah, I mean, you really can get the most out of it if you somehow, for example, well, let's take this cycle, not for example, if you went all in right here, right? Don't even try to like think about that, right? Nobody went all in right here. That's one. Maybe someone on accident, like, but no, probably not, right? But in hindsight, you can always say, like, yeah, this was the bottom. Yeah, it was the bottom. Great, congratulations, right? Does it mean it's a bad buy right here? Hey, it might feel like it once we have a small correction and then go up, right? Like we haven't even retested this whole area right here. Could that still happen? Yeah, of course could it happen, right? Like, why not? That's what we do. That's crypto. It breaks through resistance, retest, and then goes up, right? Nothing is up only. Some people, they think like, up only, bullish, bullish, bullish. Then you get a correction and you're fucked, right? But if you haven't bought the exact bottom or even like the bottom range, fuck that. Don't make it too hard on yourself, right? Like that's hard to time. People that thought that this was the bottom also thought this was the bottom. So they bought here and they thought this was the bottom. Like, and if you did that with Bitcoin, then hey, it doesn't matter, right? You have a good DCA area and you're now in profit. However, on altcoins, it's a little more risky because a lot of altcoins that looked good over here are completely dead over here, right? So with altcoins, I was also holding back more on the content over here because it was just simple that it was too risky at that point, right? And of course, a lot of altcoins turned out to be great buys, right? But there also were a lot of altcoins that, you know, looked like they were also bottomed out over here and are now completely gone, right? Completely gone. I had so many times people say like, yeah, you should buy Xen and you should buy Hex and you should buy, I don't know, fuck Floki, shit Shiba, Space Cum rocket ship or something. Like, yeah, where are those? Right? Like, I don't know. Is it like, yeah, gone. So if you want to prepare for an alt season, in my opinion, you have like until the end of the year, basically. And what does this line do? I don't know. You have until the end of 2024, give or take, right? So if we expect that a real alt season starts there, you could think to yourself like, okay, I have 10K. I don't know. We have 10 months to go. I'm gonna deploy 1K every month into the altcoin market. Whatever, that could be a strategy. Or you'd be like, every time it gets here, I'm gonna buy some. If it gets here, I'm gonna buy some. Get back, buy some. Right? You could also be like, I'm gonna buy now, and a week later I'm gonna buy a little, wherever it is, right? That's maybe even the best approach, otherwise you're trying to time it anyway. But just buy, whatever it does, right? Because in a real alt season, it does this. And then it's too late. This is not too late yet. This is not too late. It's now again in a range. It was basically very simple. An alt season does not range, right? What do I mean? Well, if you look at it like this, forget the not perfect drawings right here. But first, the altcoin market was in this range. Now it's in this range, right? And although it's a range higher, it is still ranging. Right? Same thing. We can make a double range from this as well. If we take a good look at this, then we can say like, oh, what the fuck? Go away. That here it started ranging, here it ranged a little bit. And what happened? We stepped out of the first range, right? We went into the second range. We retested that first range because of COVID, right? I don't expect something like that this time. But overall, we were ranging. We were ranging a step higher than here, right? And the altcoin market went already from 6 billion to like 23 billion. So it also did a 5x, where we now did just a 3x. But overall, it was still a range and a great buy, right? And we had the halving, broke out of the range, and then end of 2022, yeah, we were also already way higher than what we were over here. But then it started to go parabolic, right? This was not a range. Yeah, if you flip your screen 25 degrees, then it's a range, 90. So that's kind of what I think where we are right now. Range 1, break above, range 2, and then eventually break above. And then the end of 2024, and then we really start to go parabolic, right? In hindsight, the perfect buy, if you were into the right altcoins. And now at this moment, I just want to say like, hey, if you really want to be picky about it, then yeah, we are now at the top of the range. So I wouldn't like DCA too much. On the other hand, like, hey, you never know, man. Maybe we this time, like, it doesn't have to play like the last time, right? Maybe we will break above this right now and have this as a range first and then go up. Could also happen, right? So at this point, I would say, in hindsight, perfect buy, and now a great buy as well. If we go back down here, like, that's an opportunity. Like, if you skip that, then you're a complete moron. If we somehow go back in this range, like, but therefore I do think we need, like, I don't know what we need, but we need some bad shit. But if that happens, don't be scared. Have the balls. If you buy here, great. Because the altcoin market, like last time, from top to top, it did a 6x, like 550%. I know they are somewhat diminishing, but let's say we do like 400% this time, right? It goes to 2.5 trillion. Let's say 2 trillion, right? then where we are right now, 200 billion, yeah, you can make a 10x. But if it goes back here and you buy there, they make 20x. Same altcoins, same outcome, just a better entry, right? But that's the thing, that's FOMO, right? Like it goes up and oh, now people want to buy. But like here they were like, nah, fuck no, right? Like that's how it works. That's how it works. But let me refresh this real quick. Let me see if the votes have changed a little bit. Still very diversified. It's interesting to see that quite a lot of people say like, hey, alt season has already started. And I think I make this video mostly for those people. Because 17% of 260 people, like that's, I don't know, 40 people something, they think we are already in an alt season. But then again, alt season, altcoins experience notable surges in comparison to Bitcoin, right? But again, if we look at the Bitcoin dominance, then Bitcoin dominance is sitting at the top basically right here of this run, right? So this is a Bitcoin. This is the opposite of an altcoin season. So therefore, that could be dangerous, right? One hand, you might be like, yeah, that's better because once we really get an alt season, these people really make money. But on the other hand, if you think that this is an alt season and you see an altcoin doing great and you feel like, oh yeah, now I'm going to sell it, then you're already selling your positions before the alt season has even started, right? Nevertheless, take your profits, right? Like I've been, for example, taking sick profits on Beam. But I've been trading Beam like crazy. Like, let me make that actually true. Like, again, this is the range for Beam, right? Got rejected right here, got rejected right here. But I've bought Beam like here. I've bought it somewhere here again. I've sold it here. I bought it back. Like, I've been trading this like perfect, right? And I made so much money with Beam. But I also know that this is a good quality altcoin. When if we see a bull market and an alt season, this is going to be crazy. Superverse, same thing. Price discovery. But I have been selling this shit. Of course. It did a 14x in a non-alt season pre-bull market. Like, yeah, this will probably do very well in the bull market. But hey, that's also a good reason for me to feel like, okay, take some profits off the table. If it goes down, I'll buy back in. And then when the real bull market starts, I have way more profits. It's a good way to trade the market. But at the moment, again, altcoins are doing well. Don't get it twisted. Everybody that tells you that this is an alt season, and every YouTuber, every Twitter analyst is not looking at the right charts. And I don't want to make it sound like I'm fucking arrogant or I know it all or something like that. But it's not that hard to Google the definition of an alt season and then look at the chart to see if that's actually what's happening, right? It is not an alt season right now. The reason why altcoins are going up is because Bitcoin is going up and altcoins just go with it, okay? That's also what we see right here. If you look at the Bitcoin chart and you overlay others on it, right, it's very interesting to see how that works. You see this chart, right? Bitcoin went from 15K here to 30K, right? Bitcoin did fantastic. Altcoins went from 70 billion in that same period, give or take, to 115 billion. It did not do what Bitcoin did, right? And it's only now that Bitcoin has its second leg that altcoins are catching up, right? But altcoins are just simply following Bitcoin right here, right? But again, it's not that altcoins are outperforming Bitcoin right now. Bitcoin moves, altcoins move after, right? And at a certain point, altcoins go way more parabolic than Bitcoin does. But it's not the time yet. So all in all, I don't want to make it, I don't want to give advice because that's not my position to do. But what you could consider is looking at the altcoin market, because I got some questions sometimes like, hey, what if I have no position at all? If you're new in the market, you just came in, or you have been, I don't know what the reason is why you have no position at the moment in the crypto market. But I think it's super risky to have no position into crypto right now. But if you have no position, then I would say, man, just DCA, right? Usually the retail really comes after the halving. So you're still beating all the retail. Are you later than these people over here? Yeah, but you won't be number one, right? That's not the point. The point is to be earlier than most people. Most people are not in crypto yet, okay? It's very simple. I can show you that actually most people are not in crypto yet. If you look at the social metrics, and this is a long video this time, sorry, I'll put timestamps on it, so it comes out a little later today. But these are the social metrics, right? So this is the amount of people subscribing to YouTube channels, watch YouTube about crypto, following people on Twitter, right? That's the red line. Like, where are these new people? They're not here. They're not here, right? So why is crypto going up that much if no new people are coming into the market? Well, I'm not saying that there is no new money coming into the market. You can see that like the total crypto market is pumping. Hey, but this is mostly, I think, from people that already know about crypto and just started to deploy. Plus, the money from ETFs is now coming in. But mostly, the reason why we are going up, look at the USDT dominance. It's falling off of a cliff right here, right? A lot of people were in USDT and they have been deploying their USDT. So the people that are already in crypto basically are now buying. They're buying hard, right? Not because really much new people come in. So can you imagine if new people come in, like every bull market basically? And that's funny, right? Because what do you notice? Here as well, this bull market. What's interesting here? The blue line is Bitcoin and the red line is the new people coming into the market. What stands out to me is that when the top occurs for the new people coming into the market, when most people are interested, it's after Bitcoin topped. Right, if we look here, Bitcoin top, and here's where most people come in. People start to give a fuck at the moment that everything is already exploding. And hey, if you already have your bags prepared now, before that happens, that's fine. Because they're going to be your exit liquidity. And that sounds cruel, but it is what it is. Crypto is player versus player. You sell here. Yeah, who do you sell to? You sell to someone who buys there, right? Yeah, their problem if they want to buy that high. Not your problem. It's your job to make them do that. Otherwise, you're not making money. Right? It's not that if you sell that there's a money printer going on, you just take money from somebody else, right? And that's somebody else, yeah, that was probably you in this market or in this market. So you have made that same mistake and now you're learning from it. And these new people will learn from it as well and they will make it better in the next cycle, right? It's an expensive lesson you have to learn. So, but no new people are coming into the market. Matter of fact, it's going down. Nobody cares anymore. Right? Like, yeah, it doesn't feel like it because crypto, oh, bullish, bullish, bullish. But that's from the people that are already here. Right? So if you feel like, yeah, I don't have enough exposure yet to the market, I would say DCA. Just DCA. Don't just go all in. It seems like stupid right now because if you zoom in a little bit, yeah, we are now sitting at the top of this cycle run, basically. Right? For Bitcoin, for altcoins almost as well. So if you now go in, you have to take in consideration that taking a loss of 36% is definitely on the table. Right? Like, why do I say that? Well, again, this was the range. It's not weird to retest a range, right? Like we were in this range, like a small range, but we retested that range like for how many times? Right? If you look at Bitcoin, for example, this Bitcoin Bitcoin is also ranging. Like this was the first range. And then we had here. This is how Bitcoin moves, right? So Bitcoin also ranging, broke out, retest, right? It always retests, except for now at least, this range, right? I haven't retested this. Could happen, right? That's a dump for Bitcoin of 33%. I think that everybody that went to a bull market has experienced that 33% drawdowns are not uncommon, right? That happens multiple times during a bull market. Look, 2017, right? Look at these drawdowns. This was a bull market, right? Look, Bitcoin went down 30%. Here, Bitcoin in a matter of 2 weeks, right? Bitcoin went down 40%. Here, Bitcoin went down 40%. A couple of weeks later again, went down 40%. Right? So yeah, is it that weird to think like, yeah, we could see 33% down? If your answer is like, nah, that's not gonna happen this time, ask yourself, is it because you do not want it to happen, or because you honestly think that this is a parabolic up-only bull market? Because nothing ever is. I can tell you that. You see at the charts, right? It goes up like this. It does not do this. That's just not how it works, right? People will always take profits, right? So if you are prepared to the fact that we could go down with 30%, then okay. Therefore I say DCA, because that would be a great entry if that happens. I also would say, like, don't wait for this to happen, right? Do not spare all your money right now and wait for that 30% pullback, right? I will never say that you should not be in the market. You should always be, like I said as well, like I'm always like half in, half out. Like if it goes down, I'm fine. If it goes up, I'm fine as well, right? Because although it won't, it's definitely very common if this would happen, it's not a guarantee, right? And I expect this to happen simply because it is just what always happens, right? And you could put any narrative on it that it this time doesn't happen and it's up only. Doesn't matter how great the news is. Nothing is up only. So I can't, well, I'm super prepared for this to happen. Let me put it like that. But I don't rely on this. Like it doesn't hurt me if it doesn't happen. Matter of fact, if it just goes up only from here, I'll be fucking rich. Like, fine with that, right? That's great. So prepare yourself the right way. Don't ever be like, oh yeah, if it now goes up, then it's great. Or if it now goes down, it's great. Like, you know, I always position myself like, hey, if it goes down, nice, I can buy more. If it goes up, nice, I make money. If it goes sideways, nice, I have a good passive income in crypto. It's all nice, right? That's what you want. And now this video is all over the place, but I think that this is just valuable information that some people, you know, can, like, they, well, not need, but it can't hurt to hear maybe. So I don't want to make this any longer than it is, but on Altseason, again, my best guess, like anybody can only guess, right? My best guess, end of the year. Could it take me off guard and happen like sooner or maybe later? It could. Like, we don't know. Like, I'm not going to claim that I know what's going to happen. I can, you know, I can look at my Fibonacci and be like, yeah, this come there and then it did. I have no clue, man. I have no clue. The only thing we can do is what we did. Look at the charts like, hey, crypto is very seasonal. Crypto is very cyclical. The 4-year cycle, yeah, it's like, it's still playing out exactly as it usually does. And therefore, based on that, altcoins responded like that, and therefore, there's a good chance it will happen this time like this, right? But it could always be that it plays out a little different. Nothing is 100% the same, right? So I hope this prepares you. Again, if you have Bitcoin, I would definitely look at some altcoin positions right now. Okay, don't let go of trying to time the bottom. Like Focal Forge came from, let's say, 10,000 satoshis. Yeah, if you buy it at 900 or 1300, like if you know where it came from, tomato, tomato, right? And again, there are a lot of altcoins that look very close to their bottom. So buying with Bitcoin, great idea. If you are 100% in cash right now, or at least if you have cash to buy with, buying Bitcoin right now, hey, it's safe, right? It's safe and it's good. But if you want exposure to the altcoin market, I would say, hey, just look into altcoins and just DCA. Like, one last thing, I tweeted this before, but for example, Off the Grid is coming out. Now, Off the Grid is the Web3 game that shows how to be fucking mainstream. It releases on Xbox. It has Dr. Disrespect behind it. It's the biggest, most hyped, best looking game there is. Best marketing, everything top notch, like crypto is supposed to be, right? Totally insane. It's built on AVAX. Well, if you cannot get into Gunzilla, the studio behind Off the Grid, then look at AVAX, right? And yeah, you're not buying it for like $9. You can now buy it at $40, right? So be it. Buy it at 40, buy it at 20, buy it at 30, buy it wherever it goes in the meantime, right? And again, people be like, yeah, it never goes back to 20, bro. Look at this breakout. Isn't this quite similar, right? Like where it had a bottom, went up like crazy, broke through that resistance, and then retest resistance, even breaks below it, and then blah, bull market. What do we do right now? Went up very hard. And what do you think? We just do this and then only up? Like, it's never how it works. The best way is just to dollar cost average into it. And believe me, in a bull market, you won't regret it. So now I'm going to leave it here. Please like the video, 50 minutes long. Fuck, I have to look at my own video for 15 minutes and have to put timestamps on. This is gonna fuck my life. All right. Please like the video. Let me know in the comments down below what your thoughts on this are. Because again, this is just my opinion, right? Let me know yours. I'm very curious to see. All right, take care.